Welcome back to RotoQL University. This lesson we're going to be talking about monitoring for injuries and why that's so important. Monitoring for injuries can help you find out who's going to play, how much you're going to be playing, and it'll also allow you to find players who don't usually play but are given the opportunity and are generally going to outperform their salaries. The most important place to monitor injury information is on Twitter. It's a great resource, and I suggest following some beat writers who will have the most up-to-date information and kind of let you know who's going to be playing, if there's injuries, and if there's going to be any minute limitations on players. And there's a bunch of other sources out there like RotoWorld that you can use to kind of get a feel for what the injury situation is and who stands to benefit. Let's take an example of when Derrick Rose is ruled out and how that affects our DFS decisions. So when taking into account news, we need to ask two questions. One, who stands to benefit from this announcement? Derrick Rose being out is going to lead to Aaron Brooks starting. So one, you want to make sure that Derrick Rose is out of your fantasy lineups. And then you want to see how Aaron Brooks is going to be affected. Aaron Brooks is going to play. He's not going to play as many minutes as Derrick Rose, but he's going to get an opportunity that he usually doesn't get. And then, since Derrick Rose is a high-usage player, some of his usage is going to translate to some of the other starters. So specifically, Jimmy Butler is going to be handling the ball more. He's going to be taking more shots, which is going to lead to more fantasy points. So this is a situation you want to take advantage of and target. So I think you have to take into account which site you're playing on. A site with like DraftKings, which has a late swap, will give you a lot of opportunities to switch away from a player if he's eventually ruled out. One thing you really want to take into account, though, is making sure you have a viable swap or a player that you can switch to if your player that's questionable is ruled out. So I suggest having those players in the later games in the util spots because that gives you more options in case that player is ruled out. On a site like FanDuel, which doesn't have a late swap, I recommend not playing that player at all. Situations where you get a 0 because a player is ruled out are very tough to overcome. So I suggest that if there's any doubt in a player going to play or not, avoid him on FanDuel. You can try out one of our projection providers, DFS Guru, DFSR, that will monitor injuries up until tip-off. You can also import your own projection with modified injuries according to all the relevant news.